Hi guys. So I want to do this now because, on the weekends I tend to do a lot more videos and I got behind on reading with witches. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one first so I don't, but because I got that deck, I talked about it in, I believe it was Selena's hashtag about the deck you're being called to right now. It was a hashtag that I did like last week, and I can't remember off the top of my head whose hashtag it was, and all of that. I can't remember, but you get old and brain fry. But anyway, this deck has been calling to me to use. I got it at the Oddities and Curiosities Expo, the internal bloodlust, and it was really calling to me to use this deck. So I thought, okay, and I'm just going to work around it, and I've got kind of like the undead theme going on here this time. So I've got this one, and I've got, of course, my Necronomicon. It's more like vampire theme, and there's just been a lot with vampires lately, too. Just keep coming up. So I'm going to use Wisdom of the House of Night, my Halloween Oracle, of course, my Classic Horror Oracle, and then I've got my vampire, my other two vampire decks here, my V Tarot, my Vlad, it's upside down, my Vlad Dracula Tarot. I've also got my Monsters Tarot, but I can't reach to grab it. And my Z Tarot, because, undead, gotta have zombies when you're doing stuff with the undead. They're all the way over there, and I'm not gonna... This does my Wizard's Tarot because A, I love this deck, and B, there are vampire elements in the deck. And then, of course, my Horror Tarot. So, anyway, let's get started. So, kind of got things, got dropped, and, things kind of got, a little out of order, and when I went to, anyway, this one's kind of at the end, even though, with my, my V 2 cards and my Vlad 2 cards came up, because I was working on it and didn't want to go back and redo everything, and it just felt right to do it this way. I have to explain. Some people think that doing things intuitively is probably a bad thing, and shouldn't explain myself, but, it is what it is. So, give me a minute, because I thought my glasses were here, and they're not. Plus, I've got more room, and I'm utilizing what natural light there is outside to do this. So, hence, I'm in front of the window. Being that broke girl and utilizing a blanket. So, anyway, got my glasses. So, and I'm going to do rune readings too. But anyway, so we're going to start with the Strength card here. So the Strength card has a lot to do with balanced vulnerability, right? And it kind of giving some vulnerability so that people can see you and you can see others, so that you can kind of find your soul tribe or people that you have that common understanding with. Too much vulnerability can be a bad thing because, well, people can take advantage of that, so that's something to be mindful of. Also, when it comes to community, we all are the same underneath everything, and everything has its place, but the flesh, um, when everything, like, everything that goes over this, the flesh and all of that, is always different. So we all have different ethics, we all have different morals, everything is different, but at its core, there's that. And also too, when it comes to vulnerability, people don't, there's a round where people or a person is choosing not to reveal themselves because maybe it's not a good thing, and they know that they don't want to take those consequences when people set boundaries or don't like what they're seeing, and they choose to kind of walk away. So maybe find a soul tribe that, or a group, community, whatever you want to call it, that's in alignment with your morals and ethics. Then you're not going to have so much of a problem. And just because people don't align with that doesn't mean that they feel they're superior. And here we have the cursed card, which has to do with the movie The Ring. There's a lot to do with self-reflection currently. You need to take that time to yourself to do some self-reflection, and a lot of things to do with materialism. And just because something comes out, and everybody has to have it, that doesn't, it's fine. You don't have to go and buy and do just because everybody else does. Like, that's kind of, in a way, to an aspect of community that's kind of bad, like you're judged when you're not doing the sheep mentality type of thing. And just because somebody jumps off of a bridge doesn't mean that you have to. This has got a lot to do, though, with peer pressure. And, if you get a warning about something, you get told about something, and the whole skepticism might not necessarily be a good idea during this time. When it comes to studying, okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to get up and go get some ice water. It's getting a little warm in here. So, with the listening, the listening card, this has got a lot to do with study and about you needing to, I had my paper, with the cursed card. That also has a lot to do with, like, doing research and origins and where things come from, because there are certain negative aspects or negative things that, like, maybe you don't want to spread. We don't want to spread, like, negative energy, negative situations. So kind of keeping that contained is really also important. And again, with study, study origins, where things come from, and also understand that there are also other people that are studying who may be using information in a not, in a coercive kind of way, with their knowledge and testing, and using, again, coercion, on how to manipulate stuff and situations. Of course, doing cleansing is really important. But yeah, you really need to be. Another thing, though, too, is don't take someone's word for something. You need to go and get your own resources and study for yourself. Because, if 10 people have a book and they're all going to read the book, and you're going to have 10 definitions of the book. So someone may be reading the book and have their take on it. Don't just go by their take. Like, look at the book, read the book, and figure out, like, how you perceive it, like your life experiences and how you perceive something, but don't just take someone's word for it. Read the book yourself before you make any kind of boldness. Being bold can be a good thing, but people sometimes get boldness and confidence confused with arrogance, which isn't a good thing. Um, so, and that really strong, dominant, feminine energy, um, might be something that you want to be a bit wary of at this time. When it comes to, because, there's plans and strategies to do something that's not, all that ethically nice, or doing something that's just not, you know, not right. They're planning to do something that's maybe not very honest. And so that's why you, when it comes to like the charismatic type of energy, you also have to plan and strategize and get prepared so that if they try anything, you already have a plan for it. And also watching your back, like being the guard when someone's doing something. That also comes up in the other card that I have here. So there's going to be like a thing with themes being in repetition. Also, though, too, with this, working together to build something, um, and, collaborating and figuring out kind of like what goes where and who should have what job. That's also another thing, and having a strong foundation. And someone's clearly, there's cracks are starting to show in a foundation somewhere. And again, with collaboration, um, and because if you see up here, like what is the whole three, the triad, the pyramid, but what's done in the dark is going to come into light. There's also a lot to do with, predatory types of behavior, like predators trying to sniff out weaknesses, links in a chain, not necessarily the other kind of predatory stuff you're thinking about, Um, finding the smaller, the weaker, not the kind of predatory that different kind of predatory. Also, being aware of what is being offered to you, collaboration, working together, is something to really think about during this time. But again, being aware of hierarchy and that type of structure. If it's not something where it's more like Knights of the Round Table being equal, then don't mess with it. But stay away from anything to do with like the hierarchy type of structure. Um, and be very aware of what's being offered to you. Protection, working. Another thing to really consider. So, with the justice, the judgment card. So, it's really important to do any type of mirror scrying, any kind of mirror working, mirror kind of divination at this time. Again, with self-reflection, and doing that right now just seems to be really important. Like really taking time to really look at yourself. Also, be aware that there's something to do with surveillance. So maybe keeping things to yourself because you're really being watched what you do and say in public circles to other people. So maybe keeping things to yourself is kind of the thing to do right now. And also someone's cracks again are really starting to show. And that's maybe visible to others some to not to others, but yeah, someone's really having issues with their cracks beginning to show. Also, when whoever there's with people that have said and done shitty stuff, um, not so nice stuff, that's going to reflect back on them. So whatever they've done is going to be reflected back on them. There's a lot to do with karma. That's another thing that's going to come up. Karma is not violence. It's simply a restoration of violence. And it's also that guilt and truth. Seeing the truth for what it is. That's another thing with truth. Truth magic right now is another thing to do. And maybe someone's looking in the mirror and they don't like what they're seeing. Because they're, I don't want to say they're flipping out, but they're really starting to be reactive when it comes to not being able to face things that they've done. So maybe cutting yourself off from that because you don't want whatever misdeeds have been done to reflect back on you. So cutting yourself off from a situation. Again, with this card too, though, cutting yourself off and walking away from a situation because you don't want to be the sacrificial lamb when whatever it is, it's going to happen. And again, what's done in the dark is going to come into the light and guidance, and really listening to people that are trying to warn you. Anyone working with any kind of moon deities or deities involving the wolf, you really need to focus on that right now. Again, somebody's always watching, so be careful. And there is no need for you to be throwing yourself on the sword or doing the whole self-sacrifice thing. That's just not very productive right now. Also, if you do any kind of death working or death communication, spirit communication, that is really important. And always having a light to guide you. She's got the light right here. So that's something else that you might really want to think about right now, currently. Let me get these cards so I can move things around. When it comes to impulsivity, doing things impulsively and being impulsive, that may not be the best thing to be currently doing right now, when you should be sort of planning and strategizing. Maybe treat yourself with something small, but really, really think about it. Plus, too, when you're impulsive, that does kind of leave you vulnerable. So this is just kind of the time to be really resourceful in collecting resources, and just really being mindful of strategy and planning. And patience. Patience, because whatever it is you're waiting for, whether it's justice or anything like that, it's going to come. And you just need to just kind of sit, the watched phone never rings type of situation. So maybe finding something else to do to redirect yourself or distract yourself instead of just like sitting there waiting. There's other things you're missing out on because you're sitting there, kind of waiting. So that's another thing to think about, because there is going to be a breakthrough. Again, with karma, because someone who's been talking crap about you or gossiping about you, you don't want to hear it, because how other people see you and what other people think about you is none of your business. But somebody who's been talking smack and gossiping about people behind their back, or, if you've been doing that, then you're about to face some karma and you're about to be silenced. So, and there's a lot here to do with the cards about superiority and people feeling they're superior and don't feel that you're superior above others. There's a lot to do here with intellectual thinking and um, maybe really working on your abilities, your intuition, your clairvoyance, all of that type of stuff. Um, Now, especially now at this time of year, was something that's going to be really, really, really important. Um, you stay away from people that just are snobs, and there's also going to be a thing with invisible pearl clutching, which is kind of important, you know. Um, when you call somebody out on their stuff and they're like shocked that you did it and play victim and all of that. And again, karma is not violence, it's a restoration of violence, and what's done in the dark is going to be coming into the light. And people are going to come together for a common purpose, and somebody who's done something crappy. This has a lot to do with maybe courts and trials, not in the literal sense, but in the spiritual sense. There's going to be courts and trials and sentencing, and that's going to be coming about pretty soon. And again, making choices, understanding that, you know, when to see things as black and white and when to see things in the gray area. It's okay to walk away from somebody that's, you know, not aligning with what your morals, your ethics, your path, whatever. It's okay to do that. Also, it's really good with a situation because to have people looking in two directions. So whether your guide's looking this way and you're looking this way, so be very mindful about looking in two directions. Again, listening to guides, ancestors, whatever you want to call it. And really making some choices and having that balance between balance and moderation are really, really, really important right now. So I don't have my paper, so I just did that kind of off the cuff today, but I'm going to keep my paper aside in case there's anything. Put it in my journal. I'll start a tarot journal and looking back and dating that, because there may have been something that I missed because I set my glasses down and don't know where they went. So let's get on with the rune readings. Okay, so this is all about peace and harmony and working together. And this has to do with gods, and Odin. But because this is upside down, so this may be reflective of a lot of the deity stuff that people have been talking about lately, but this is more focusing on the female deities because it's in reverse. So whatever community deity work, especially with goddesses going on right now, because this has a lot to do with torches, so I'm thinking Hecate, and any type of duality and sexual attraction. And we have or someone who's in a very strong masculine energy. And then we have a lot to do with, of course, with healing, because there's going to be a need of that, because there's going to be a lot of emotion, and a way of life coming, kind of being wiped out, transition, because when we transition, there's kind of a death in a way of the old and bringing in the new. So there's going to be a lot of, not like physical death, but like a way of life just being washed away and destruction. And this also has a lot, even though this is technically having to do with romance, but maybe self-love or a romantic relationship, or finding balance in duality. So that's it. Peace, love, and light, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Please like and comment. If you don't, that's great too. But peace, love, and light. Blessed be.